right, let's move into a more serious discussion today. The topic is modern lifestyle and productivity. Specifically, the question is, are people becoming more productive because of technology, or are we actually becoming more distracted?
That's a great question. Personally, I think technology increases productivity, but only if people use it in a controlled way. Otherwise, it easily becomes a distraction.
I agree partly, but I lean more toward the negative side. Many people believe they are productive because they are busy all the time. However, being busy does not always mean being effective.
That's true. Answering emails, checking messages, and switching between tasks can create the illusion of productivity, but in reality, it often reduces deep focus.
Exactly. Studies show that multitasking lowers the quality of work. When people jump between tasks, the brain needs time to refocus, which slows overall performance.
However, I think technology also gives people tools that were impossible before. For example, remote work allows flexibility. Online platforms allow learning from anywhere. That's a major advantage.
Yes, but flexibility can also blur boundaries. Many workers now answer emails late at night and during weekends. This creates long-term stress and burnout.
That's a strong point. Work-life balance has become harder to maintain. When your office is inside your phone, it's difficult to fully disconnect.
And that disconnection is important for mental health. Without proper rest, productivity drops over time.
So maybe the real issue is not technology itself, but how people manage it.
Exactly. Tools are neutral. Behavior determines outcomes. Let's explain some words. Productivity means how efficiently you complete work. Distraction means something that takes your attention away. Multitasking means doing many tasks at the same time. Burnout means physical and mental exhaustion caused by long stress.
Let's take this discussion further. Another aspect is social pressure. Many people feel pressure to always be available online.
Yes, social media plays a big role. People compare their lives to others, which increases anxiety and dissatisfaction.
This constant comparison creates unrealistic expectations. People feel they must work harder, look better, and achieve more.
Which leads to a cycle of stress. Instead of focusing on personal progress, people chase external approval.
At the same time, social media can be useful for networking, marketing, and education.
True, it depends on intention. Passive scrolling wastes time. Active usage can bring opportunities.
That distinction is very important. How you use a tool matters more than the tool itself.
And this is something IELTS examiners look for, the ability to analyze both sides of an argument. Let's explain some words. Pressure means strong emotional or social stress. Comparison means judging yourself against others. Expectation means what you believe should happen. Passive means not active, just receiving information.
Another interesting point is attention span. Many researchers say attention spans are getting shorter.
Yes, because people consume fast content, short videos, notifications, headlines. Deep reading and long focus are becoming rare.
That's worrying because complex thinking requires long concentration.
Exactly. Without focus, creativity and problem-solving suffer.
However, some people are adapting by training focus intentionally. Meditation.
All right, so today we're diving into something that honestly feels unavoidable at this point: artificial intelligence, automation, and the future of work. And I don't know about you, but every time I see a new AI tool come out, I feel two emotions at the same time: excitement and discomfort.
Yeah, same here. It's exciting because the technology is impressive. You see machines writing text, creating images, analyzing data faster than humans ever could. But at the same time, there's this quiet question in the background. Okay, where does that leave us?
Exactly. Because this isn't just about convenience anymore. This is about identity, about livelihoods, about how people earn money and build their sense of purpose.
And that's what makes this moment different from previous technological changes. When factories became automated, people could move into office jobs. When computers arrived, new digital careers appeared. But now AI is entering intellectual space, writing, design, analysis, decision-making.
Yeah, that's the uncomfortable part. For decades, people believed knowledge work was safe, that creativity and thinking were human territory. And now, suddenly, that territory is shared.
Which forces us to rethink what human value actually means. If machines can calculate faster, remember more, and work without rest, then what is our advantage?
I think the answer isn't intelligence in the traditional sense, it's interpretation, judgment, emotional understanding, context.
Right, machines process information, humans process meaning.
Exactly. A machine can summarize a report, but it can't truly understand how that report will affect a nervous employee, a stressed manager, or a struggling family.
And that's where leadership comes in. Leadership isn't about having the most data, it's about making decisions with incomplete information and human consequences.
Which is ironic because we live in a time with more data than ever, and yet uncertainty keeps increasing.
Yeah, because complexity grows. Systems are interconnected. One small change can create unexpected effects.
That's why people feel anxious about the future of work, not because change is happening, but because the speed of change feels uncontrollable.
And also because adaptation requires effort. Learning new skills, changing habits, updating identity, that's mentally exhausting.
Let's talk about that for a moment, the psychological side. Because when people talk about automation, they often focus on economics, job loss, productivity, GDP, but rarely on emotional impact.
Yeah, losing a job isn't just losing income, it's losing routine, status, social connection, self-worth.
Exactly. Work gives structure to life. It organizes time. It creates goals. When that disappears suddenly, people feel lost.
Which is why massive automation without social planning is dangerous. You can't just tell people learn to code and expect everything to be fine.
That phrase became almost a meme because it ignores reality. Not everyone wants to code. Not everyone can code. And not every economy needs millions of programmers.
So the real challenge is diversity of opportunity, creating many paths instead of one solution.
And that brings us to education, because education systems are still preparing students for predictable careers.
Yeah, memorization-based learning, standardized testing, fixed career paths.
Meanwhile, the real world now demands adaptability, the ability to learn fast, unlearn fast, and relearn again.
Which is uncomfortable because humans like stability. We like clear plans.
But stability is becoming rare. Flexibility is becoming survival.
And this changes how people should think about their careers. Instead of asking, what job will I do forever, the better question is, what skills can travel with me across industries?
Communication, problem solving, emotional intelligence, critical thinking.
And storytelling, actually. The ability to explain ideas, persuade people, and create narratives.
That's interesting, because storytelling is ancient, and now it's becoming futuristic again.
Yeah, because in a world full of automated content, human authenticity becomes rare and valuable.
Which is ironic, technology pushes us back towards humanity.
So maybe the future of work isn't about becoming more machine-like, it's about becoming more human.
I like that idea. Becoming more human, more emotionally intelligent. All right, welcome back. In the first part, we talked about AI, identity, and how work is changing at a deep level. Now, I want to move into something more uncomfortable, inequality, because this is where technology stops being abstract and starts affecting real lives.
Yeah, this is where the conversation becomes political, emotional, and sometimes divisive, because automation doesn't hit everyone equally.
Exactly. When people talk about the future of work, they often imagine white-collar professionals adapting smoothly, but that's not the reality for millions of workers.
Right, if your job is repetitive, physical, or based on routine tasks, you're much more vulnerable to automation.
Factory workers, warehouse employees, call center agents, delivery drivers, these roles are already being replaced or heavily assisted by machines.
And what's dangerous is that these jobs often belong to people with fewer financial safety nets.
Which creates a double problem. They lose income and they also lack resources to retrain quickly.
Exactly. Learning new skills requires time, money, and mental energy. If you're working 2 jobs just to survive, reskilling sounds like a luxury.
This is where the idea of technological inequality becomes real. Not everyone benefits equally from innovation.
In fact, innovation often concentrates wealth. Big tech companies grow, investors gain profits, highly skilled engineers earn more.
While lower-income workers face instability.
That gap is dangerous. Historically, when inequality rises too fast, societies become unstable.
People lose trust in institutions. They become angry. They search for simple answers to complex problems.
And that's how misinformation spreads.
Exactly. When people feel powerless, they become vulnerable to extreme narratives.
So the AI conversation isn't just technical, it's social.
And moral.
Yes, because we're not just deciding what machines can do, we're deciding what kind of society we want to build.
Let's talk about one popular solution, universal basic income.
Ah, yes, the idea that everyone receives a basic monthly income regardless of employment.
Some people see it as a safety net for automation.
Others see it as dangerous. They worry it will reduce motivation to work.
But motivation isn't only about money. Humans want purpose.
Exactly. If people stop working not because they're lazy, but because there are no meaningful opportunities, that's a social failure.
And universal basic income alone doesn't solve the identity problem.
It might prevent poverty, but it doesn't create fulfillment.
Which is why some experts argue that job creation must focus on human-centered roles.
Like education, healthcare, mental health support, environmental protection, community development.
These are areas where human presence matters.
And ironically, these jobs are often undervalued and underpaid.
Which shows a contradiction in our economic system.
We reward financial efficiency more than social value.
Exactly. A hedge fund trader can earn millions while a teacher struggles financially.
Yet teachers shape the next generation.
This brings us to a deeper question. Should productivity be the main goal of society?
Or should well-being be the goal?
Because AI can massively increase productivity.
But productivity without fairness leads to imbalance.
And imbalance creates instability.
So maybe the real challenge isn't technological, it's philosophical.
What do we value? Speed or sustainability? Profit or dignity?
And these questions don't have easy answers.
But avoiding them is worse.
Absolutely, because technology will continue advancing whether society is ready or not.
So adaptation must be collective, not just individual.
Governments need policy, companies need ethical responsibility, education systems need reform.
And individuals need awareness.
Because personal choices matter too. How we vote, what we support, what we tolerate.
Let's talk about corporate responsibility for a moment.
Big topic.
Tech companies often say they are just building tools.
But tools shape behavior.
Exactly. If a platform designs algorithms to maximize attention, they are shaping how people think and spend time.
So neutrality is an illusion.
Every design decision has consequences.
Which means ethical design should be part of innovation.
But ethics often slow profit.
And that creates conflict.
This is why regulation matters.
Not to kill innovation, but to guide it.
Because unregulated technology usually benefits the strongest players.
And leaves vulnerable groups exposed.
So if we summarize part 2 in one idea, automation is not just a technical upgrade, it's a social stress test.
A test of fairness.
A test of responsibility.
And a test of long-term thinking.
All right, I think this is a good place to pause again.
Yeah, the next part should focus on skills and what humans can do better than machines.
Exactly. In part 3, we'll talk about human strengths, emotional intelligence, creativity, and future-proof skills.
See you in the next part.
All right, welcome back. So far, we've talked about automation, inequality, and social impact. Now I want to shift the focus to something more hopeful, human strengths. Because if machines are becoming more capable, the real question is, what should humans become better at?
Yeah, that's the most important question. Because the future isn't just about avoiding replacement, it's about building relevance.
Exactly. And relevance today doesn't come from memorizing information anymore. That era is over.
Right, information is everywhere. What matters is interpretation, judgment, context.
And emotional intelligence. That's one of the biggest advantages humans still have.
Absolutely. Understanding emotions, reading body language, responding with empathy. These are things machines simulate but don't truly experience.
And that difference matters in leadership, teaching, negotiation, healthcare, and teamwork.
Think about a manager giving feedback. An AI can generate performance reports, but it can't feel the emotional state of the employees sitting in front of them.
Exactly. It can't sense hesitation, insecurity, frustration, or motivation.
Which means the best leaders in the future won't be the smartest technically, they'll be the most emotionally aware.
And communication becomes central, not just speaking clearly, but listening deeply.
Listening is underrated. Most people wait to talk instead of actually hearing what the other person is saying.
That's true. And in a world filled with noise, attention becomes a rare skill.
Which brings us to another human advantage, critical thinking.
Yes, AI can generate answers, but humans must decide whether those answers make sense.
Exactly. Machines don't understand truth. They generate patterns based on data.
So humans must evaluate sources, detect bias, question assumptions,
Which is especially important in an era of misinformation
because fake content is becoming more convincing.
and faster to spread.
So digital literacy becomes survival skill, not optional knowledge.
Now, let's talk about creativity, because people often say AI is creative now.
Yeah, but it's a different kind of creativity.
Exactly. AI combines existing patterns. Humans create meaning.
A machine can paint a picture, but it doesn't know why that picture matters.
It doesn't carry emotional memory, cultural trauma, personal experience.
And that's what makes art human.
Which is why storytelling is becoming more important, not less.
Brands, educators, leaders, activists, everyone uses stories.
Because stories connect emotionally.
They give context,
They make abstract ideas relatable.
and they build trust.
Now, here's something interesting. Many of these human skills were once considered soft skills,
Yeah, that label was unfair.
because now they're becoming the hardest skills.
Exactly. Technical skills change fast. Emotional intelligence takes years to develop.
Adaptability is another key skill.
Yes, the ability to adjust to new tools, new environments, new roles.
People who resist change struggle.
People who learn continuously survive,
That's not motivational talk, that's economic reality.
which means education systems need radical updates.
Instead of teaching fixed answers, they should teach flexible thinking
Instead of rewarding memorization, they should reward problem solving.
and collaboration.
Yes, because future work will be interdisciplinary,
People will work across cultures, fields, and platforms.
which also makes cultural intelligence important.
Understanding different communication styles, values, and expectations.
Because remote work connects people globally, and misunderstandings can easily happen.
So empathy becomes a professional skill, not just a personal trait.
Another future-proof skill is self-management.
Time management, energy management, emotional regulation.
Because when work becomes flexible, structure disappears. And without structure, discipline becomes internal.
Which is harder than external control.
Very true. Working from home sounds easy until you realize you must motivate yourself every day.
No boss watching, no fixed schedule, just you.
That requires maturity.
And responsibility.
So ironically, technology pushes humans to grow psychologically.
That's an interesting perspective.
Yeah, instead of making us weaker, it forces us to become stronger internally.
if we choose to adapt.
That choice is important.
Because adaptation is not automatic.
It requires effort.
And humility.
Because learning means admitting you don't know everything.
Which is hard for many adults.
Especially those who built their identity around expertise.
So the future professional is not the one who knows the most.
It's the one who learns the fastest.
And collaborates the best.
And communicates clearly.
And adopts emotionally.
That's a powerful combination.
All right, I think this part sets a strong foundation.
Yeah, in the next part, we should zoom out again and talk about society, values, and the long-term future.
Exactly. In part 4, we'll talk about what kind of world we're actually building.
See you in the next part. All right, welcome back for the final part. We've talked about technology, inequality, human skills. Now, let's zoom out completely. Let's talk about the bigger picture. What kind of society are we actually building with AI?
Yeah, because at this point, the question isn't can we build this technology? The real question is should we build it this way?
Exactly. Technology is not neutral. It reflects the values of the people who design and use it.
And right now, speed and profit dominate most decisions.
Which isn't surprising. Companies compete, investors demand returns, markets reward growth.
But long-term social stability doesn't always align with short-term profit.
That's the core tension.
So if we let market forces alone decide the future of AI, we might end up with efficiency but not fairness.
And efficiency without fairness creates resentment.
Which leads to polarization.
And political instability.
We've already seen this pattern in many countries.
So one important question is, who controls AI development?
At the moment, mostly large corporations and powerful governments.
Which concentrates influence.
And limits public participation.
So democratic oversight becomes important.
But that's difficult because technology moves faster than law.
Yes, by the time regulations are written, the technology has already changed.
Which creates a constant lag.
That's why some experts argue for ethical frameworks instead of only legal rules.
Shared principles.
Like transparency, accountability, privacy protection.
And human-centered design.
Meaning, technology should serve human well-being, not just efficiency.
But implementing that is complicated.
Because different cultures define well-being differently.
Exactly. What one society values, another might reject.
So, global cooperation becomes necessary.
Which is hard in a world of competing national interests.
This is where education and public awareness become powerful tools.
Because informed citizens demand better policies.
And hold institutions accountable.
Let's talk about personal responsibility for a moment.
Yes, because it's easy to blame governments and corporations.
But individuals also shape the future through daily choices.
What platforms we support.
How we use technology.
How we protect our attention.
And how we treat other people online.
Digital behavior reflects real values.
And small actions scale quickly in connected systems.
For example, spreading misinformation, even unintentionally, contributes to social damage.
While critical thinking and responsible sharing improve collective intelligence.
So, digital citizenship becomes a real skill.
Not just an abstract concept.
Now, let's imagine two possible futures.
Okay.
In the first future, AI increases productivity, wealth concentrates, social inequality grows, and people feel disconnected.
Technology is powerful, but society is fragile.
In the second future, AI is used to reduce boring labor, improve healthcare, personalize education, and support sustainable development.
Technology becomes a partner instead of a threat.
Both futures are technically possible.
The difference is political will and cultural values.
Which means the future is not fixed.
It's negotiable.
And that's important because many people feel powerless.
But awareness creates influence.
Even small voices matter in large systems.
Especially when they connect.
So, what's the main message we want listeners to take away?
I'd say this: don't treat AI as magic or as a monster. Treat it as a tool that requires responsibility.
I'd add invest in your humanity, skills like empathy, communication, adaptability, ethics.
Because those skills become more valuable, not less.
And finally, stay curious.
Curiosity keeps you flexible.
And flexibility keeps you relevant.
That's a strong place to end.
Yeah, I think we've covered a lot today.
Thanks for staying with us through this long discussion.
We hope it helped you think deeper about the future of work and technology.
See you next time.
Take care.